what I've learned from other countries, you're a very, very, very interesting. But the country that really created a hard impact was India. So India is a very complicated country as well, massive country, multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multi-everything, and massive population, right? So when I was there, early 2000s, I was really struck by the differences in terms of social classes, right? So in India, you will find like that some people were born with certain privileges, right? But even the people from the West, say, or the Goras, it was not created by them. They were just born like that, right? There's nothing special about them that makes them special. It's just the way it is, right? The world, it is the way it is.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। बढ़ता हुआ पाकिस्तान में महताब खान तनोली फिर आपके सामने हाजिर है। आज हमारे एक इंटरनेशनल मेहमान हैं जो पाकिस्तान आए हुए हैं। बहुत ज़बरदस्त पर्सनैलिटी है। मेरी उनसे इस पॉडकास्ट से पहले थोड़ी गुफ्तगू भी हुई और बड़ा मज़ा आया उनके साथ मिलकर। बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं लगा कि मैं फ़र्स्ट टाइम किसी बंदे से मिल रही हूँ। उनका नाम है एड्रियन एवेंडेनो। एड्रियन एवेंडेनो के बारे में इतना बता दूँ कि ये जो हैं वो फाउंडर हैं ब्रीडिंग एजिस एंड ग्लोबल साउथ टेक के, जो कि न्यूयॉर्क सिटी में है और माशाल्लाह से 12 कंट्रीज़ में रह चुके हैं और इनका डिफरेंट एक्सपीरियंस है। और मज़े की बात आपको ये बताऊँ, 12 ज़बानें भी जानते हैं। और मेरे लिए बड़ी सरप्राइजिंग बात ये थी कि इनका एक डिफरेंट माइंडसेट है। और चले आइए उनसे मिलते हैं। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। हाउ एड्रियन, हाउ आर यू?
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you here.
Thank you so much to give me your precious time. And I'm very happy to see you here. And I know nowadays you are very busy in podcast and other things as well. So, Adrian, would you please tell a little bit about our audience that what you do and about your life journey from your childhood till up to now?
It's great to be here. So yeah, I grew up in North America, right? I was born in Mexico City, so I was there, and in New York City in the U.S. growing up as a kid, back and forth. And also I happen to be an Irish citizen, right? Like from the Republic of Ireland. So just to make it clear. So yeah, basically I have this kind of mixed multicultural sort of background growing up as well. So my mother was working for an airline company when I was like 0 months old, and so she used to take me with her all the time to New York City, to Madrid, to Puerto Rico, to Miami, to all these places when I was like 1, 2, 3, 4 years of age, 5, 6, 7. So I was always exposed to not just like one city, but I was exposed to multiple cities and multiple cultures and languages and races since I was, that's how I grew up. I do not know any other way, right? So that's kind of give you a little bit of context, right?
Okay.
But I'm also an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I've started 5 companies, right? And throughout those years, also I've been living in 20 different cities around the world, working on, all this 5 different companies, that I started. But now I'm in Pakistan, and I've been here only for 3 months. And I think it's been very interesting for me, Pakistan, in terms of where the country is situated right now, and in terms of tech development and also the youth. I think the youth have been exposed to a lot of information through social media and tech, but the country faces a lot of challenges, obviously. But I think what I've discovered is a lot of very interesting opportunities here, especially for the youth, and progress, right, and be more connected globally. I think that's what's also needed, because obviously there's PR issues with Pakistan around the world, and also locals, like everywhere, need to understand that we're in a hyper-connected world, right? It's not about dealing with Pakistanis, it's about dealing with citizens of the rest of the planet, right? So yeah, it's like in short, right?
You can tell about the 20 countries you live, country culture you like most.
Okay, so let's touch on inspiring, right? And okay, my answer is going to be controversial, but that's a reality, right? So when I was 20, my first Asian country that I visited was Japan. No, it was Turkey, but I wouldn't count Turkey as Asian country. But it was Japan, like the first touch point with real Asian culture, right? But the country that really created a hard impact was India. So I've been in India 3 times, right? And when I was 21, I went there early 2000s, and I've been everywhere in India, north, south, east, west. So India is a very complicated country as well. well, massive country, multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multi-everything, and massive population, right? So when I was there, early 2000s, I was really struck by the differences in terms of social classes, right? So in India, you would find, like, say, not a 5-star hotel, but a 6-star hotel, right? And then you walk outside and you would see not one beggar, but hundreds of beggars, right? Just next to each other, right? So the contrasts in India were stark and hard. So when I went to India first time was like the first time I saw like real poverty. You know, you get it in the Americas, but not the level of India, right? You know, you would not see like a few houses. You would see like tons of shanty towns and like tons of people living in the same condition. India is just poverty at scale, right? So I was just shocked to see that. And also shocked to see the differences, right? Like you would see so much wealth and luxury, and then on the other end, you would see the girls and kids just like living on the street, right? And so yeah, that was intense at the time when I first saw it. It just literally changed my perspective of the world. I mean, I was already changed before that, right? But India kind of was a stepping point in terms of I didn't see the world the same way, meaning that I realized I was privileged to see that at such young age, and that I wanted to make a change in terms of fixing at least creating some form of impact that would alleviate some of the problems that we face as humanity, right? So yeah, India will be the first country that really changed me, right? And the second question would be like 20 others. It's just, I need to go through a list, but you know, it's like obviously it's been Chile, Mexico, US, living, right?
Yeah, I'm also asking about the culture.
Okay, no, so I was living in...
Which inspired you a lot? Which country culture?
Yeah, so India, right? In terms of inspiration, right? And in terms of living, we live in like South America and Europe and Asia and Southeast Asia as well, and in Asia and Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, you know, tons of countries, right? And in terms of, I couldn't answer the question which country I like the most because they're all different, right? So say Philippines is totally different from Thailand, or Thailand is totally different from Korea, right? They'll have like a different culture, different attitude, the locals, and different food and different language. So for me, I don't see it. Sure, some countries are easier than others in terms of being there as a foreigner, right? But here's the good news. The good news is that Pakistan, and this is what I'm sitting here, I guess, right? And I was not planned. I was planning to come here for a few weeks only, right? And then I was in Georgia, the country. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Pakistan maybe 3 weeks. 4 will be like, if things are going great, I'll stay for 4 weeks, right?
Oh, really?
Yep. And so I've been here for more than 3 months so far, right? Why? It's not because I have not seen Asian culture before. Like I said, I lived in Asia for 5 years, so I've seen a lot of different cultural things. It's more, the people where it's like the moment, you know. So you go to some places and you kind of land at the right time, right place, you know. And I think that's what's going on here. I just came here to explore, and the locals, they're being very hospitable and all the rest. But I think the work that I'm doing has resonated a lot with people here. And so that has been interesting for me in terms of, I've been getting a lot of attention here, because not just because I'm a foreigner, but because of the work that I'm doing. I'm telling Pakistanis that, you know, stop feeling inferior. Stop feeling that you can't do as well as Goras. Stop feeling that, you know, because your skin is not white, you're not as smart. That means nothing, you know. What it's important is that, you know, people need to feel inspired to do something they like, and something there makes them wake up every day and makes them, you know, make a change, or at least feeling proud of the life that they're living, right? So that message has resonated, and also that's resonated the fact that I see a lot of opportunities here, and Pakistan seems shocked about it, right? It's like, wow, really? It's like they think I'm crazy. Like, how? How is it possible? So I'm like, I tell them, yes, I have no links to Pakistan, to your country. I'm not a Muslim, I'm not even religious, right? Nothing, right? I came here to explore and see how things were. And I'm telling you, from what I've learned from other countries, you're a very, very, very interesting period time, right? And so yeah, that's why I've been getting a lot of attention and stuff, because the message I've been telling, and the type of work I've been doing here, right? So yeah.
Impressive. What is destination of Pakistan, the IT industry of the world? What would you tell? Can you express your views about it?
Yeah, for Pakistan and like the tech development, right? So you got to consider Pakistan is the fifth largest country on the planet, 250 million people, and not only that, but only under 65% of the population are under 35 years of age, right? So the demographics are huge, and out of those young people, 70% of them have smartphone and they're connected to the internet, right? So that's fact one. And then number two, there hasn't been really a sort of tech revolution. And what that means is like, yes, there's tech startups happening here, meaning people starting companies using tech and having impact is getting started just about, but it has not happened like in other developing countries. I'm not even comparing with the West, right?
Exactly.
Say, compared to Indonesia, compared to Brazil, compared to other nations with the same size, or India. Still, Pakistan is not quite there yet, meaning that there's a lot of value created out of tech companies that got started here, right? Hasn't happened yet at scale, right? And it has not benefited too many people yet. But the question is, will it happen? I'm positive it will definitely happen. What I mean is local companies, Pakistani companies, growing at a huge size and are prominent enough that the world will notice, right? That there's local companies, tech companies growing and creating great value, not just for Pakistan, but for the rest of the world, right? And so this is the question, right? And there's many reasons why it hasn't happened here. Obviously, geographically, you're in a very tricky position. You're between India, between Afghanistan, Iran, and China, right? So you got very complicated neighbors, right? And that has been an issue throughout the years, of course. And also the war on terror since 9/11, right? That has made a huge impact on Pakistan, right? Not just Pakistan, the region, Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, right? So that's been also a PR problem for Pakistan. Why? Because what we hear in the West, not only in the West, like even in Turkey or like just your neighboring countries, before me coming here, I'm going to Pakistan. And they were like, why are you going to Pakistan? I was like, because I
people
want
get
to go there.
surprised and asking question, why you are going over there?
And I'm not asking, it's not Americans asking me, it's just Georgians or Turks asking me, why are you going to Pakistan? Yeah, so I'm saying neighbors like around here, you know? Yeah, so basically, yeah, people don't know much about Pakistan because all we hear is TPP, right? And the attacks in Peshawar and the Marriott attack in Islamabad and all this stuff. We don't hear any positive news or any positive developments, you know? So that's been a problem for Pakistan because not even forget the foreigner, your own diaspora, your own educated Pakistani demographics, they're gone away and they're hesitant to come back, right? They stay either in Dubai or they stay in the UK or in the US, right? So they're hesitant to come back and create some potential, development or impact or whatever, right? So it's not like in India, right? In India, those guys are very intensely connected, right? Indian Americans are very much linking India with the US, like actively 24/7 and back, right? But Pakistan hasn't happened yet, right? As much. But you have Pakistanis abroad. You have a lot of smart, educated Pakistanis abroad, right? But those links are not quite there yet, right? They're not developing as much yet, right? So going back to answering the question on tech development, you're at a tipping point, so to speak, for which there's enormous potential, right? But it can go either way, right? It can either still take another 10 more years or it can happen next few years, right? So I'm betting that will happen soon. And I'm betting that this market has enormous opportunities, tons of challenges, but I think for me the timing is right. And my role, I see it like as I wouldn't say a total Pakistani, I forgot the words, like rooting for Pakistan, but I'm some form of a bridge, right? Because if I talk about Pakistan with foreigners, they're like, okay, they know I'm not from here, right? So it comes from a perspective, a total foreign perspective, not from a local, even any Pakistani pitching Pakistan to non-Pakistanis is like, of course he's Pakistani, right? So there's like always this cut out like saying, okay, yeah, you're making Pakistan look better than actually it is because you're Pakistani, right? So, but from me, I have nothing like Pakistani. I just came here because I was curious, right? So I have nothing like nobody paid me in Pakistan, to like say good things about Pakistan. It just happened naturally, right? So I think that's the advantage in terms of PR. I come from a very non-biased, and I think my message will resonate even with Pakistanis being as a foreigner, and obviously with foreigners, right? That this is a good location to come and do things, a lot of problems to be solved, and people are embracing tech everywhere here with their smartphones, right? So that would be the answer.
Adrian, can you please tell us about the inspiration behind founding Bleeding Edges and Global South Tech and the impact these organizations have had on the tech industry?
Yeah, so it comes back to the same principle that, I've been very curious about other countries and how they develop technology, right? And how they're using it and how it's changing the economics, the politics, the culture, and everything else, right? So that's how it happened. I started first doing events to connect the US with Latin America. I started in New York and in San Francisco because, I grew up there. I speak Spanish, right, and English. So it was very easy for me to start connecting both communities, in Latin America and San Francisco and New York. But then I saw more opportunities, not just in Latin America's emerging region. I also saw Asia and Africa, right, in the Middle East, to do stuff there and create more opportunities between, the tech communities there. And yeah, so that's how I started in 2014 in New York doing these events there, and it went really well. I started getting like sponsors and everything else, and yeah, like organized in total like 135 gatherings touching all ecosystems, tech communities around the planet, right? Until COVID happened, right? Of course, that was not.
Did you feel any failure, or can you please share your experience as well?
In COVID? During COVID?
Yeah, in COVID as well, and about when you started these companies and you are the founder of that. Many people have some challenges in their
failures,
life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've had so many. It's like all the time.
You can share some of them so people can learn from you that, because most of the people think that if they are fail, they even don't start any kind of new startup. They just sit at this corner side and they don't do anything.
Yeah.
So if you face some kind of thing, please share it.
Well, I think I need to say something about failure, something before talking about failure, which is pain. So humans, naturally, we avoid pain, right? We just stay away from it. Why? Because it sucks, right? We don't like feeling pain, either psychological or physical, right? Because it's discomfort, it's like we like to be in a warm place versus in a cold place. We like to feel in a place that we can control versus in a place we cannot control, right? We like to be in a place for which we think we can manage versus not, right? So that's a psychological problem, meaning that, yes, of course, it's normal to feel in this comfort area where it's warm, but the problem is the learnings are not as good there, You won't learn as much because your brain is not being pushed. Your body, I always include body-brain because it's the same, right? Your body is staying balanced, right? You're not pushing your body or your mind to adapt too much, right? It's staying balanced where you are. And sure, we require that to survive, right? But we also have this sense of curiosity, right? That pushed us to explore places and do new things that we didn't know what the outcome was going to be, right? So it's in a way, yes, feeling comfortable is part of our genes, but also taking risks is also part of our genes. It's in our nature taking risks, because otherwise we would not have survived, right? So yeah, not everyone can take all those risks, right? No. Some, and this is the interesting part, brains and risk takers are equally distributed around the planet, for sure, right? It's not like they're in the US no, they're everywhere. The problem is opportunities are not equally distributed, right? So going back to the risk taking, right? So for me, I felt always comfortable taking risks. Because why? Because I like learning. I love learning new things. So I don't see it as, sometimes it sucks that things don't go as planned, but I really focus on what are the learnings here? What's the thing even though it sucks, even though you break a bone or whatever, breaking bones or like you feel very sick, it sucks, but there's something there that to absorb that you would definitely make something better. You know, there was some learning that you can absorb, that you can incorporate to the next moment, so to speak, to the next experience, right? So I see it like that. Failure is not much of a thing. It's more like a new learning experience, right? So one example for me, when I was in 2013, I was with my co-founder, and we're also together like couple, and we broke up as co-founders and also like a couple. And then at the time I was in South America, and basically I had to come back to New York City. And at that time I literally ran out of money. I had like $600 left, and arriving in New York with $600 is like nothing, right? And so basically I was $600 in New York City is, you know, one of the most expensive cities in the world. And I had like 4 weeks left of surviving, you know, like either I don't do something 4 weeks, or I'm on the streets, you know. So like I had to find ways to survive, and but that's just one, that's the most like dramatic one, right? That I was in New York City with, actually it was like $500 only, right? Which is nothing there, because rent alone, it costs you like $500, you know, so it's like your money is gone just with rent, and plus like everything else is very expensive. So I had to figure out a way to survive and make money, like get money somewhere, right? So because I'm a developer, so I start coding part-time for some friends, and I was getting like $100 an hour, right? So I saved up for like 3 months, but I never worked full-time for somebody, because it's not part of my thing, right? So I had to do it because I needed the money. So I found a way to get the money and still work on my own projects, right? Still work on my own thing. And that's what happened, right? So I was still doing 3 months of freelancing. And then on the side, I was working on the community on global GST to start connecting the people in Latin America with the US. So and that was a big one. And the other one, COVID. Like COVID sucked. I mean, there's good learnings, of course, but for me, it sucked because I couldn't travel, I couldn't meet people, I couldn't do gatherings. It's like COVID was like the opposite of what I was doing. So before COVID, I had like 50 events planned. It was 40 events planned throughout the year, and then 0, right? COVID started, and then cancel, and no sponsors, nothing, and I'm stuck in a room in Georgia. So it was like, I mean, we all were stuck, right? But specifically, I had plans to move around, right? So that sucked, and then I was stuck in that room in Georgia, and then trying to figure out, okay, cannot meet face to face, let's meet online.
Okay.
So I was always trying to figure out, okay, there's an issue, what's the workaround? There's an issue, what's the workaround?
You tried to solve the issue and find
Not
out.
try, always.
Always.
The solution might not work. Okay, next. Try a different one.
You didn't give up.
I would never give up. I don't mind being on the streets, that's the thing, you know. I'm very committed, meaning I don't mind being a beggar, but at least I'm being creative. I'm still free in terms of exploring ideas I want to explore, you know. So for me, I don't compromise at all.
Impressive. Okay, Adrian, would you please tell your experience with Sir Rehan Avendano?
So I met his son first, Saad, because he has a podcast on LinkedIn, and he's doing the interviews with different startups, and I saw his podcast on LinkedIn, and then somebody kind of connected us there, and then we messaged each other, and then I met him here in Karachi, and then I did the podcast with him, and then I met his father. That's how it happened.
So how was your experience with Rehan Avendano?
So it's interesting because he's a connector guy, so he likes connecting people, you know, actively. So that we have that in common, right? He loves to connect. I love connecting. And also he likes to empower. He's into women empowerment and also the lower of the pyramid, meaning the lower income people, and empowering them with tech skills, which is something I've been working on for years as well, right? So that's how we connect on that a lot in terms of connecting and lower income and tech skills, right? Because ultimately that's where the big opportunity is for all those people to upskill themselves and become better at using the technologies as a tool, right? To enhance themselves, their creativity and their skills and everything else. So, yeah, that's where we connect.
Okay. Would you please tell me, do you have any regret in your life?
Regret? There's one, yeah, but it's very not too much, not very interesting. If I could I would have dropped out of college if I could. Yeah, because it was kind of boring for me. Yeah, so it was like, it's too much. It's like, okay, listening to teachers over and over again and exams over and over again. I'm like, I was suffering. I was really, no, seriously. I just, if I would go back, I would tell him, hey, dude, just drop. Just let it go, right? I would have. But there was one benefit that I did get from the paper, from the degree, not from the knowledge. I'm saying from the actual paper,
Okay.
which was like, okay, it's a long story, but so it's a long, basically, yeah, there's one, in North America, we have a deal between Canada, US, and Mexico, right? So I'm a US resident for life, but I had to still do the paperwork. And for me to do the paperwork, they were asking me for this card that said which degree you got. So this card, because of this card, basically we get free access to North America forever, right? So if I did not have that card, it would have been harder, to get all these benefits. So there's one thing only that kind of I got pretty huge benefit. Otherwise, I would have said no, drop out. It's just because I don't know, my mind is there's too many things going on in my mind, and I was not patient enough to sit in front of the teachers and go through the whole thing, and so I struggled.
Okay, which kind of people you like most and you want to make them your friends?
Interesting questions. Okay, so there's actually two, I've thought about it, actually, yes. But there's two answers, actually, yes, for this question. So I would tell you, I like to meet people who are very different from me. Why? Because there's some learning lessons there, right? So that's why I came to Pakistan also, right? Because the culture here is in some ways opposite to my culture, right? In my culture, meaning like Spanish, Latin, North American culture, so there's two answers to that question. The first one would be, I like to meet people who are totally different from me. And well, one example is Pakistan, right? So the culture here, if you ask me, is kind of the opposite from our culture, really. In our culture, women expose themselves all the time, like intentionally. They love to show their bodies. They love to show their femininity a lot. They show it on purpose. It's part of their being Latin. It's like, especially women, like they show how beautiful they are, and they want to show you in your face how beautiful they are, right? Women do it everywhere, but especially Latin girls, they're very good at this. It's like, look how beautiful I am. And they don't do it for guys. They do it for other girls, right? It's like, I'm going to beat you, and then here it is, So that's kind of Latin culture. Also, touch, right? Latin culture, you see the salsa dancing is like, you touch strangers like this immediately, right? Don't even know them. It's like, you don't even know their name. You start dancing with them close. So guys and girls are super close to each other, super, super close to each other. But guys and guys are not that close, If a guy on the street touches you, you will get in a fight. You cannot touch a guy on the streets, even like a little bit. It will be super weird. But in Pakistan, it's like, wow, so fluid. I can just touch any guy here, and they would not even notice. Like, if it's in my way, I can grab his waist and move him to the side, and he'll be like as if nobody is there, right? So
and they don't anger.
They don't even notice here. If a guy touches you, right? So it's like, that's like, in terms of very basic culture stuff, it's completely the opposite, right? But for me, being here, it's like, wow, there's a lot of, my brain is learning so many different things of how humans behave in this environment versus the other environment, right? What are the lessons to learn from this way of doing things versus the other way of doing things, right? From me. But also sometimes I do like to meet people who are closer to me, meaning open-minded. That's number one. Open to anything. Open to new ideas, open to new experiences, open to new concepts, and willing to explore and jump. You know, that willing to get cold, willing to get out of that warm place. And
Everyone, I think, in this world wants something, some kind of people, and they like a lot. Okay, Adrian, would you please tell me your 3 wishes in your life
Any
in
wish?
2023? Yeah, you can tell.
Okay, so I try not to say create new wishes for every year. I just have like kind of overall
Resolution,
goals, you know,
goals.
that just stay
Yeah, you can
independently of the year. So, well, I think it's kind of, one is, for me, health, mental and physical health is like fundamental, right? If I don't feel right or my body does not feel right, I just don't feel inspired and with the energy to do things, right? So health,
Okay.
health definitely is like on the very high top. So I'm very focused on, you know, diet and exercise and meditation, these
You
things.
must care about your health. You taking care of yourself.
Yeah, for me it's not like optional.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, no, because it's like, even you can think, okay, you have all
Health
the
is most important.
yeah, you can have all the money,
Yeah.
fame.
If you
but
have good health, you can get anything.
Yeah.
But if you don't have good health, you know. What
no, yeah,
else?
it's just, it's not good, because you can have everything, but if you have some pain,
Yeah.
and being always dealing with this pain,
Yeah.
like physical or even psychological,
Yes,
is not good,
exactly.
right? So yeah, health. Number 2, so I think it's more like I've always felt that I don't fit anywhere. That's kind of a constant for me. It's like when I go home, you know, I go there, I'm like, it's like, yeah, we speak same language. I go to New York City, I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's just so, I still don't fit there. You know, I go there, back there, I'm like, no, okay, yes, but I'm not like them, right? And when I come to Asia, I'm like, no, I'm not like Asian either. And I'm in Turkey, I'm like, no, I'm definitely not Turk. You know, I'm in Pakistan, I'm like, well, actually, there's some things that I resonate with the culture here, and there's others definitely not resonate, right? So what I'm trying to say, my wish is kind of, I wish that more people at least push themselves a bit more out of this comfort zone.
Exactly.
That's it. Even if it's just a little bit, just a tiny bit every day, you don't have to like climb a mountain tomorrow. Even if you just like push a little harder or a little bit more tomorrow, your mind kind of gets used to, your mind and body gets used to this kind of opening like space, you know, it's like pushing a little more this open space, right? Or letting more cold air in a little bit at the time, right? So all of a sudden you realize, wow, I can withstand a lot of cold air, right? Versus just warm air. So yeah, I wish, because it's something I practiced myself all the time, right? Pushing like opening up something every day, right?
It's good, and you're also trying to change yourself as well.
Exactly.
If any person will change his mind by him or herself, he or she can get success in their life, because once you need to change yourself, and if you have any kind of wishes, so for this, if you have willpower, you can get your dreams come true as well. And anything else about you? Any message you want to give to the people?
I think I go back to what I mentioned before that, and I think is a message for all people of the world, is that, you know, yes, some people were born with certain privileges, right? But even the people from the West, say, or the Goras, it was not created by them. They were just born like that, right? It was not. There's nothing special about them that makes them special. It's just the way it is, right? The world, it is the way it is, right? So what I'm saying is, yeah, a lot of people in the world, the non-privileged, sometimes it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, meaning they don't believe enough in themselves. They don't believe enough in the skills, because it's like a program running in your head, right? It's like, you're not enough. You can do it. There's no way you can compete with those guys. You can't be as good, right? So that's a problem for everybody because we need people of the world to contribute to all the issues that we have as a planet, right? To share their creativity, to share their culture, and feeling confident about it, right? So yeah, my wish is like more people believe in themselves more and bet in themselves and their skills, because we as a society, we need more people to contribute more with their creativity, with their generosity, with their kindness, with their intelligence, with their emotions, right? We need those people, right? So we can't shut areas or countries out. We all need to contribute and participate, right? So that's my message. Yes, do things, you can do it. And not because you're Pakistani.
Last question. Anything else you want to add? You want to share by heart? You never share anything in your life with anyone else. You want to share. Today you can share.
Well, I think that's the main message, like in terms of
self-believing. You want to say because that it's necessary. Thank you so much, Adrian Avendano, for giving us your precious time. Thank you so much. व्यूवर्स, आपने देखा कि ये एड्रियन एवेंडानो थे जिनके साथ हमारा पॉडकास्ट हुआ है, जो कि पहले इंटरनेशनल गेस्ट हैं जो मेरी पॉडकास्ट में आए, जिनके साथ मैंने पॉडकास्ट की. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा और बहुत अमेजिंग पर्सनालिटी हैं. इफ़ यू वांट टू लर्न समथिंग फ्रॉम हिम यू कैन लर्न. और इनकी फेसबुक की आईडी भी हम उनको जब मैं आपको शेयर कर दूंगी. कोई सवाल, कोई क्वेश्चन यू कैन आस्क एनी टाइम. और इनको आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं, इनसे मिल सकते हैं, इनके स्टार्टअप देख सकते हैं और इनके एक्सपीरियंसेस देख सकते हैं. ये यूट्यूब, आई थिंक यू हैव योर यूट्यूब चैनल एज वेल, तो उस पर भी और आप देख सकते हैं इनको. और फिर इंशाल्लाह ताला नेक्स्ट पॉडकास्ट में फिर एक नए मेहमान के साथ हाजिर होंगे. तो महताब खान तनोली को इजाज़त दीजिए. पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद.
जिंदाबाद.
या पाकिस्तान
जिंदाबाद.
ओके, लिटिल वन मोर थिंग, कैन यू स्पीक इन उर्दू फ्यू वर्ड?
मेरा नाम अदरियान है. मैं अमेरिका से हूँ. पाकिस्तानी पाकिस्तानी लोग बहुत मेहरबान है. मैं आपसे मिलकर खुश हुए. आप क्या मुझे पसंद करते हैं? आप क्या मुझे पसंद करते हैं?
Yeah, you are very nice.
आप क्या मुझे पसंद करते हैं?
Yeah, you are very nice और आप बहुत अच्छे हैं. और थैंक यू कि आप आ जाए. कल मुझे जब पता चला आपका पॉडकास्ट हो रहा है तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. या आप बहुत अच्छे हैं और अल्लाह ताला आपको खुश रखे. एंड यू कैन कॉल मी महताब बाजी.
Okay.
Yeah, in our culture, elder sister, you can call her baji.
Okay.
Yeah, one new word I taught you.